the way pain showed up for me was when I found out that I had been cheated on multiple times. I started just going down this like rabbit hole of thought. Okay, I got cheated on multiple times. Like, I went towards like the immediate thing of like very lust based thinking. Am I bad in bed? Then I was like, why did she want to do that when I have X, Y, and Z? It was just, short term thinking was like how I started off with. Because I remember having the conversation when she had admitted to me after the fact. She was like, oh, yeah, I'd done this. And I was like, is that because you think I'm like bad in bed? That was the first response. It was very like primal.
Yeah.
But then that pain was like hitting me like, okay, primal response. All right, let me start looking at myself more as a man. I was like, what is doing this? It gave me the chance to start digging deeper and being like, wow, I was walking on blind mode for the last 8 months, and I did not pick up on any of these signs that I was not showing up as the man needed to be in this relationship where she feels safe enough to feel at home. And this might be a hot take.
Yeah.
I believe most women who end up cheating do so because the man in the relationship did not create an environment safe enough. This does not excuse the women of her behavior in any way. This means there was two emotionally immature people. I played my emotionally immature act of being a man, and then she acted out her version of being emotionally immature. However, I was the domino that caused it, is what I took away from it. If I was emotionally mature and had been acting a different way, I would not have created an environment where that could have happened. She still could have been emotionally immature to have caused that, but the odds decrease substantially. So looking back on it, I was like, I caused this thing to happen. I don't even have any sort of hatred towards her. She did her thing. Like I did all of my flaws, did all the things that I did. She went and did whatever with her flaws. I have no anger towards her. The only thing I have is I need to change. I need to become this. So that to me was like how pain affected me, because I knew in that moment in time, I was like, it ain't about anyone else. It's about me.
Yeah, man. I mean, as you were telling me that, like it gave me a little bit of chills, because I have almost the exact story. I was 28, engaged, living, working a career. She cheats on me. Same thoughts, same feelings. What did I do wrong? What did I, led me to this giant wake up, exactly as you had to like take responsibility of like, fuck, I've been asleep. I've been asleep for this whole relationship. How could I have missed this? And it resonates so hard with me of like, yeah, it takes two. This broke, yeah, she was an asshole. Yeah, no excuse for what she did, right? However, if I was awake and if I was mature and if I was actually present in this relationship, I could have seen these things and we could have communicated and we could have, righted the ship effectively. So yeah, man, thanks for telling me that. I know that it's a difficult thing to have happened in your life. I think particularly as a young man, because it's like, your ego is at its peak and it's like, what? No,
Yep.
how could this have happened? It's a tough one, dude. So, but in what I'm hearing is your takeaway from this is that event sort of gave you even more agency in the world. You took this thing and you took responsibility for your part of it, for your part in it. And then that ultimately gave you the strength and the recognition to say, okay, this failed because of these things that I did or didn't do. How can I correct them moving forward? And you used it to become a better man rather than getting, spiteful, rather than getting, bitter. And that's huge, man. That's something to be proud of. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So, if there's any words of wisdom that you can impart from that moment in your life, that pain, that how can people get through those initial feelings of that ego bruise to look at it objectively, remove the ego, look at the situation objectively and say, okay, what can I do better? What can I learn from this effectively and become a better person?
I would say lean on a support system. Go do things with a support system that can hold you to a high standard and lean on that support system. Because I think immediately it will bring forth the potential shortcomings that do exist. And I say that from my personal aspect of like, how did I get out of it? Was we got into lockdown, pandemic happened. Austin was, one of the more open cities. And my friends were all people who were in this space of, I'm going to get into these hobbies. I'm going to grow as this human and I'm going to consistently stack so that I can become this better person. And I suddenly had like this set of people where I was like, okay, I'm doing these things to better myself and I'm doing it alongside people. And in doing so, I think it just was like, I got to check in. Well, this person improves. I have to improve too, or I'm falling behind. And that was a massive opening for me to start just reflecting on like, okay, I was definitely lagging back then. And I'm seeing that now because I'm having to do something that I can sense a sort of uncomfortableness that might come.
Within yourself?
Yeah, within myself of like, I said that I'm going to show up again next, week. Now I got to show up again this next week because everyone else is showing up and I can't be the only one who can't. So that repeated thing of like, oh my God, wait a second. This is exactly what I didn't do as to why that relationship kind of like broke a little bit. So I think finding myself in a path of like, okay, I want to further improve on something, and then finding a group of people to do it with is I think been a consistent thing through history of time where it's like, find your group.
Community.
Yeah. And do it.
Yeah.
And I think that was an incredible tool for myself where I felt super lost.
Yeah.
Super lost. And it just allowed me the chance to step back in and then at the same time reflect against myself in the mirror when I had, alone time of like, wow, I can see where this is going and I can see why I wasn't who I was supposed to be.
How did you find that community? Like, were you already rooted here enough to have a community in place, or did you have to then, after this catastrophic, thing happens, like, did you have to go find a community?
2 parts. One was the set of friends that I had at my house that we stayed at. That was just community that just got built up through being in the neighborhood around. And that was like a great way where lockdown meant like, yo, just come over to the house. Let's all just hang out. And that was one. But in the second part, in my downturn, when things were going south with that relationship, I could sense internally things were off. This was when it was like the peak of, I need to leave my job. I keep doing this thing that I shouldn't be doing. And that's turning me into this sad sack of shit. I'm just lost. But I can still tell, like, I just got to take this leap of faith into this something, but I'm not doing it. I'm just like not getting into this thing of full commitment. And I met, Ross, who is one of the guys who has come to Men in the Arena. He led Men in the Arena last week and met a few other friends. And it was kind of like, these guys are friends and the camera has been great. I've been shooting and I shot content for a bunch of other people who are in the fitness space, and through them hosting fitness events, it was kind of like shoot stuff, meet. And I'm like, okay, I'm meeting people. Like, I got to take this for what it is. The camera is allowing me to go places. And I'm grateful, even though I hated parts of that camera. It was like that thing still just brought me to a life. So I was able to make a community based off of like realizing what's the thing that brings value to people around and myself into position. And man, a camera takes you a lot of places. Okay, you have a camera, you're invited.
Yeah, especially in today's day and age where everything's got to be documented. I mean, again, though, that what you went through in recognizing that it wasn't your career, it wasn't money, it wasn't your job that was gonna get you through this gap effectively of healing. It was leaning into, it was having the self-awareness to step back and think about this sort of objectively rather than subjectively, and like getting into the emotional response of things. It was like, what can I do that actually makes me feel good? And then it was recognizing that, okay, it's, I really enjoy this camera. Yeah, sure, there are some parts of it that I don't like, but it's getting me, the benefits outweigh the downsides effectively.